going on, guys? Alex with AJ Duelist, and we have another discussion video. I kind of like the idea of giving my opinion on something or speaking about something when, hey, I want to hear the opinion of other people's, because you guys really, blew past my expectations on our on our CT scan video over Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So I appreciate you guys for discussing that with me, because it's always good to get different points of views on things. But the topic that I really want to open a conversation of, and it's been brought to my attention by several YouTubers already, several of my friends, and the question is Yu-Gi-Oh a dying TCG? Now, I think at first glance a lot of people are going to say, yeah, absolutely 100,000%, like it's dying. Nobody plays it, nope. But if you do some research, like I did, I want to do some homework, I'm like, man, it's definitely different. It's definitely a different platform, than where we have been many years ago. But I think Konami has tried to evolve the game, because I think since the start of Yu-Gi-Oh, there's always been like a power creep or a power scale creep. There always has been. That's why you constantly are having cards that are being banned, unbanned on the reserve list, whatever the case may be. So you're ultimately always going to have to up the bar, right? Up the shenanigans, so to speak. And I think, with my personal opinion, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is definitely not popular with the kids anymore. Not as it was for us millennials. Yes, I'm a millennial, 28. I would say for us millennials, we gravitated towards it a lot more than kids today do. I recently just bought a collection, rather big collection too, of a father and son that they wanted to get in Yu-Gi-Oh, but they collected, I think, for a couple of years, and they're just like, hey, it's not doing it for us. We really want to go after Pokemon. And I'm like, that's understandable. I mean, Pokemon's a multi-billion-dollar company, and they've been killing the TCG. Actually, I think it's the biggest TCG in the world, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it is. So it kind of saddens me. But if you go over like attendance records, so I was like, man, let me try to find some information, and I looked up. So at the last year's World Championships, Yu-Gi-Oh still had like 50,000 people watching it, from what I gathered from the internet. That's insane. I mean, it's not like Super Bowl ratings. It's not big, but 50,000 people tuning in to watch a TCG, a tournament. That's pretty darn good. Is it insane? No, it's not insane. Heck, there's YouTubers that do way bigger than that, like Ruxin, or you look at in the Pokemon scene, like PokeRev. They do those numbers times 5, times 10. So it's definitely not astronomical, but I would argue that I think Yu-Gi-Oh's just kind of evolved as a game, and I don't necessarily believe their ideal target is children, because you have to have some level of patience with getting into Yu-Gi-Oh now, a level of patience, a level of understandings, and a little bit of money, especially if you want to be in some of the top tier decks, which you don't have to. I mean, you can always start from scratch and have a lower tier deck, but I think the level of entry is extremely high to be super competitive. Whereas in Pokemon, you can get these cards at lower rarities, but still have the same purpose. I don't personally play Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. I did play Yu-Gi-Oh probably till right past 5Ds. I never got into Zexal as much. I think that's when I started discontinuing the hobby for a little bit and took a break. But even then, it was getting to where, okay, there's always a power creep coming. And I think at the end of the day, guys, there's only so much creativity that you can do. And I think instead of just being super negative towards the space. I mean, we should be encouraging people, because I love the people who play Yu-Gi-Oh and keep it alive. And I think it's awesome if you can keep up with it and you can really figure out the OTK decks and figure out how to do all these amazing summonings, and it's impressive, man. I personally find it impressive. Like, I think Sam was Samurai Sam's channel, Samurai, I can't think of his name, but he made it to the World Championships, and it's very entertaining to watch these guys just pull off these combos left and right. So I definitely think there's still going to be a niche for that. I truly believe that. Now, in terms of the collecting side of things, I think it's a little different. I think I've been trying to understand some of Konami's decision making. Like, whenever we had the Starlights, so that's whenever I got back into the hobby. I believe it was Lightning Overdrive was my first like actual set. Like, I was dabbling in previous sets, but my first set that I was trying to just like master set it and complete it was Lightning Overdrive, because you had Black Rose and a Starlight, and that was just the oh my goodness, like this amazing chase card. And then you have Dawn of Majesty with the Stardust Dragon. I'm like, this is neat, man. This is so cool. And for a little bit, I was like, okay, Konami's doing something really phenomenal for us collectors. We want to, we can acquire these really hard chase cards, but then there's still super playable cards in the meta within the sets, and that's what they were doing. They were doing a great job. Somewhere along the lines, we get into like these rarity collections, and there's literally a collector rare Prismatic Secret Shatterfoil. I mean, they got Make-A-Wish, not even Make-A-Wish, the 25th anniversary. I call them Starlight Rares. What are they called? They're called I can't even think of the word, but they look just like a Starlight. I've tried to compare the two, and it's not a big enough difference to where I would be like, yeah, this PSA 10 Black Rose compared to this PSA 10 Black Rose that's from the 10s, right? They're like, what, $600, $700 difference? You can't, there's not a huge difference. If you didn't know about the sets, like, you would think that, yeah, these are the same cards. And that's so, that kind of crushed me with some of my collecting goals with the modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Hence why I think, if y'all have seen some of my newer videos, I don't open up new Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. And I do that because I choose that. I don't think that the modern stuff's not fun. I think it can be fun. That Infinite Forbidden set, they're trying to get some old archetypes, like try to make some cool Exodia decks. I'm down for it. But in terms of a collector, well, I'm a collector first, It's just nothing that I can see me personally wanting to just spend an egregious amount of money on. Because it doesn't do it for me. Like, the characters themselves is great, but if there's no real hard chase for me, then I'm not too excited. I'm not too excited. So I'm curious to know what you guys are thinking about that, because that's kind of like where I'm at with the state of Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think it's dying, but I don't think it's necessarily becoming popular with the children, because I can only imagine trying to get, six might be kind of young, maybe like 8 to like 13, like kids starting to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! And it could be a process. Now, I think some Edison, some GOAT format would be super easy to get into. I just don't think there's the attraction, right? We don't have the anime anymore. I think they're trying to bring it back, but I think with Pokemon staying up to date, they keep the anime going. They make it to where it's not as expensive either to catch them all, right? And there's games behind it, and I think that's why they are and always will kind of get that younger generation of kids coming up, like the Sword and Shields era, the Scarlet and Violet. I mean, kids are gonna remember all these starter Pokemon. You ask a kid about a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Set, I honestly don't believe they would be able to tell you. They may know the Dark Magician, they may know the Blue Eyes White Dragon, but most of your sets aren't going to have those guys, you know, unless it's some variant, right, that they've had to souped up on steroids to make it playable for the meta. So I think Konami's going to be okay in the coming years. I don't see just Yu-Gi-Oh! Dissolving, right? I think there's still a lot of money, so I don't think you guys should be completely worried about it. I do feel for the unlimited collectors, like some of them old boxes, so they're reprinting Retro Pack 1, which I actually, North America's finally getting that printed, because I think it was only a European print, if I'm not mistaken, so it's not like they're reprinting it, but they are, because they're making it for the North American side. Light of Destruction, that's another one that's getting a reprint, which is crazy to me, because even though I don't think Konami's intentionally trying to hurt the vintage market, I think ultimately it's almost inevitable. That's why if you guys do want to collect stuff, like especially vintage stuff, I always will like encourage you guys to try to go first edition. You know, they can't reprint a first edition pack. I mean, I guess they theoretically could, but they won't, right? That first edition stamp is probably your safest bet in terms of collectible investor type of cards. And that's why, like, all this modern stuff, I just, you know, it's not doing it for me, man. So I'm curious to hear y'all's opinions on this. This was just a little rant, a little idea, and I just kind of want to hear your opinions on this. If I'm way off, you guys got a way cooler perspective, let me know. Let me know in the comments. So hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.